Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady, G's and gents. This is your boy Germ, and you're tuned into Kinetic Aesthetic. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday and that your week is ending off good and that your weekend is starting off even better. But today, I want to have a little yap session and I want to run a scenario by you all to start it off. Now, let's say that you're an American citizen. You are minding your business. You're living your life. You got your house with your two kids in there. They're ages 10 and 12. And out of the blue, out of nowhere, your shit just starts to get raided. They bust down your front gate. They bust down your front door. And then all of a sudden, the police are inside your home, searching through every nook and cranny, fucking shit up. You are getting your fucking suit pockets all just combed through. They're messing around with every CD case. They're just looking for shit. They apparently have a warrant that is for kidnapping and drug trafficking, just some crazy shit like that. And after they're done fucking your shit up, after they're done going all through your house, they sit there and they tell you that all of the repairs, all the shit they fucked up and didn't find anything going through, they're going to leave it up to you to fix it all. That is what happened to a rapper by the name of Afroman. Now, y'all may or may not be familiar with him. He came out back in the year 2000 with a song called Because I Got High. It's a cult classic song. Pretty much everybody that smokes weed loves it, that know or at least knows of it. But it was his only real hit, so he's not the most recognizable name. You might just know him just for the novelty of it. But he is stuck in this position. He's stuck left having to pick up the pieces after his whole home has been raided. His kids are traumatized, and all because they came with some goofy ass warrant for some shit that this man knows he wasn't doing. And so he's left with no other choice but to figure out how he's going to pay for all this. And in his genius way, he decided that instead of just trying to ignore this situation and not really dwell on it, he decides to use the footage of the raid. He looks through it, finds a whole bunch of funny little shit that he noticed, and he decides to start making music based off of it. Starts off with just some songs called Will You Please Help Me Fix My Door? He had another song called Would You Like a Piece of Lemon Pound Cake? Made after one of the cops that he saw in the raid was just holding his gun, but for some strange reason couldn't stop staring at the lemon pound cake he had left on the counter. And then he's even going through the songs talking about how they're just raiding his suit pockets. Like, they spent so much time looking through all these little nooks and crannies in like literally just suit pockets, just trying to, I guess, find kidnapping victims. Because, I mean, that's the main thing for your warrant. So I guess he's got to be having some kidnapping victims inside of his suit pockets. But he pointed out all this goofiness, all the silliness of it all. And he was starting to make money off of it. He was making money off of it, using it for merch. And those cops didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. I guess, being held accountable when you make a huge mistake like this and fuck up someone's home, that is not really their MO to really have to deal with all of that. So they, in their wisdom, decided, you know what? We're going to sue this motherfucker. And thankfully, it did not work. I'm here to tell y'all right now, to cut a long story short, this man was able to win the lawsuit that was brought against him. They tried to get him for $4 million. These 7 or 8 deputy sheriffs that raided this man's house, and he was able to succeed. He was able to not have to pay him shit. And a big part of that was because of their own stupidity and hubris. A big part of that was because they literally just did not follow the law. I won't say didn't follow the law, but because the law is definitely fucked up. But they didn't follow the right guidelines on how to go about all this. And on top of that, I just really want to talk about how bold and audacious these cops are to try to do some of the shit that they did. Now, when it comes to the bold part, what I'm referring to is one of the songs in question's subject matter, a police officer that Afroman decided to dub Lick 'em Low Lisa. I don't know shit about the lady. I don't know her full name. I know I saw the clip of her on the stand, but I don't think it had her name. All you need to know is that she was a blonde little deputy sheriff that worked for him. And while they were raiding her house, she, for some strange reason, felt it was necessary to cut this man's home surveillance off. Now, that should raise some red flags to anybody. There's no reason why, if you're raiding someone's house, you don't, why do you want the cameras off? Why are you trying to, make sure that nobody, he can't actually see what happened while y'all were doing this? And as it turns out, they probably knew what they were doing when they did that, because another interesting part of this case that highlighted just how fucked these police officers were in dealing with it is that, first off, when they raided the man's house, they took $4,900 in cash, which, I mean, I don't know how police raids work. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know the ins and outs and how they do things, but I have heard that they're going to take belongings or things like that they believe that they deem relevant to the case. Why they felt that cash was necessary or relevant to a kidnapping case, I'm not too sure. Maybe I'm gonna try to. I'm trying my best, y'all, to just give them a little bit of grace. Maybe they thought that shit was like related to payments or something. But what's really crazy is that after they did their due diligence, after they figured out, okay, he's not a kidnapper, he's not doing anything illegal, they returned the money, but they returned it $400 short. That's right. What was $4,900 came back as $4,500. So these cops were trying to steal from this man and get one over on him. And when called out for it, when forced to return the money back to him, all they did was try to claim that the guy who took it must have miscounted. If you believe that, I have a bridge I can sell you. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I believe that every single cop in whatever city this in is evil or racist, but I definitely do believe that this was a case where they were just trying to get one over. They were just trying to take advantage, and they just got caught doing a whole bunch of shit that they shouldn't have been doing. And I also just want to give a big shout out to Afroman for the way that he's handled himself throughout the whole case, because he didn't just take this shit lying down. He fought. He tried his best to figure out as much as he could. He got dirt on these cops. Like, aside from the Lick 'em Low Lisa, he also made another personal diss song to one of them called Fuck Randall L. Walters Jr. That's his actual name, but it was just called Fuck Randall Walters. He came out with a whole bunch of shit about him. He had talked to a whole bunch of his ex-wives, because apparently he's been married a bunch of times. And on top of it, he even claimed out and said that he fucked his wife. And that is a big part of where the defamation and everything like that was coming into, because what they sued him for were not only defamation but invasion of privacy. And just to start on the invasion of privacy, I believe that their whole like main point was that this man had used their faces against their will when he was releasing these music videos and their likeness, which is fucking bullshit. Understand this, y'all. If the police come to your house unannounced, if you weren't expecting them, and you get them on camera, you are well within your rights to use that camera footage however way you want to use it. Number one, they did not come to his house. They came onto his property that he owns, and they're using, and they're just doing all this shit. So at the end of the day, that he wasn't expecting them to be there. That is his property. That's his personal camera footage. He can use it the way he wants to. So they gave up any right to having their faces shown and shit like that when they showed up. Number two, when it comes to the defamation, they may, and I'm not really necessarily doing my full research on this part of it, but they may have had a case when it comes to defamation, but they were too stupid because they went on the stand and they gave it up themselves. Now, the cop in question, Randall Walters, who had his wife allegedly fucked by Afroman, he was asked directly about it and asked, do you believe that Afroman fucked your wife? Do you believe that people believe this? And he said, I don't know. And I want y'all to understand, this is where they gave that case up, because when you say I don't know to a question like that, when you are suing someone for defamation, what you're saying is that you are leaving it open that it could be the truth. And as long as there's a possibility that it's the truth, that shit ain't defamation. This is the highlight of the case for me, and that is exactly what tells me everything I need to know about these cops once again, because it showed that they don't really think. They weren't really worried about the defamation of or invasion of privacy. They were just mad because they were being held accountable for their fuck-ups. And I want to give another big shout out to Afroman, because this is big for freedom of speech. Right now, and we're going through this with all these people who are trying to get butthurt about music lyrics. I'm looking at you, Drake, trying to bring the law into it and lawsuits and shit like that. We have to make sure that we maintain that our freedom of speech, and that we can't allow people to take away music. We can't allow motherfuckers to come in here and start dictating what we can and can't say in lyrics, what we can and can't use for art. especially when, and this is going to be my main takeaway from this, and this is one thing I want y'all to understand. Afroman said it best. The situation wouldn't have gotten to the point that it did. They would have never been in the court. They would have never had to have dealt with this, had to even file a lawsuit, if they would have done their jobs properly in the first place. When those cops went out there and they just went into this man's home and got that and just did all that, when they figured out they got it fucked up, that should have told that number one, they all should have at least apologized. I'm not trying to sit here and say that the cops should be just paying for it. Well, they should have paid for it. I don't know how cops get away with fucking up people's houses during raids, especially when the raids don't turn up shit, and not have to pay for it. But at the end of the day, they made that choice and they made that decision. I don't feel sympathy for any of them. I don't really think that like even the cop that tried to come up to Afroman apparently and apologize and tried to bring up being Christian, Afroman said it best. You're Christian now, but you weren't Christian when you were breaking down my front gate, and you weren't Christian when you were taking my money from me. This is just another example of how a lot of these cops try to game the system. These aren't cops that are in it for the betterment of society or to help people that are less fortunate. They're just trying to do it because they like the feeling of having authority and power over others. They don't like the fact that this man was able to hold them accountable for the bullshit that they tried to pull. And that is my main issue with policing. And this whole case just highlighted it. Once again, and I just have to say it again, Afroman deserves a lot of credit for this. He deserves a lot of credit for standing on his square, not bouncing from his pivot, because $4 million in that lawsuit, they were really trying to just send a message. And the fucking female cop going up there and crying on the stand, the whole just acting like she can't deal with being called Lick'em Lolisa, them trying to bring their kids into it about how they're getting bullied and this and that. That is just, I just don't care, because at the end of the day, when you sign up to be a cop, when you sign up to serve the public, this is what it entails. Serving the public means that you are going to get praise when you do shit right, but when you fuck up and you do things wrong, you're going to get very loud, very, very sometimes unhinged criticism. They don't deserve death threats. Nobody should be telling them they're going to fucking kill them or anything crazy like that. But you definitely don't deserve to just get grace or an excuse when you raid a man's home on a bogus-ass charge, on a bogus-ass warrant, and you don't find shit. Because all that shows that you guys aren't doing your jobs properly and you're making mistakes. And on top of everything else, you're wasting the people who pay your salaries money. Because the taxpayers are the real ones who had their time and their money wasted when they used all the equipment they used to go raid that man's home. Those cops that were in there raiding that fucking dude's house, they could have been doing something more productive, and they could have been doing something more valuable and worthy of their time. But instead, they tried to fuck with Afroman, and Afroman fucked with them right back. And at the end of the day, they deserve that shit, and I don't feel any type of sympathy for them. But that's all I had for y'all. I just wanted to come and talk on this, about this Afroman case. It was interesting. It was dope to see him win, and I am just all for making sure that people, especially those who abuse their authority and power, are held accountable for that shit. So big ups to Afroman. Fuck you to those cops. And you know what? I'm gonna go get high. So y'all have a good rest of your day. This has been Kinetic Aesthetic. I'm your boy Germ. I'm out.